Last week, President Obama was in Oregon to speak at Nike headquarters in promotion of the TPP. Now, why you would pick Nike, who I think if you're like me, and I was very, very young, I think deciding to stop buying Nike sneakers when I was, 12, 11, because I had some awareness of sweatshop abuses. And you got to realize, at that age, that's a real sacrifice. I played sports. They were very cool shoes, and they had great branding. But when I was exposed to those stories about the conditions of sweatshop factories that produced Nike's shoes, I decided, and that was my first decision like that, to not buy them anymore. And I've actually really mostly stuck to it since then. Not 100%, but 90%. And, as you grow, obviously, all the other sneaker brands I like don't have shoes made in great conditions either, and it's more of a structural question. But being that as it may, selecting Nike to go to promote TPP is like selecting Chris Brown to perform at your Keep Rihanna Safe benefit or your anti-spousal or girlfriend abuse conference. It's insane and demented. Nike is a brand that is absolutely associated with the problems of modern free trade and how we've created it. And President Obama went there and he gave a speech that was equal parts condescending and dismissive, and frankly, painted a picture of trade that nobody objects to, that anybody who took intro economics would have familiarity with, and have nothing to do with the mechanisms of the TPP. So it's all the old comparative advantage stuff, and tariffs will help the winemakers in Oregon, and then we'll get cheaper products from Asia. He made a big point of saying there's environmental and labor standards in this agreement that are unprecedented. Well, we don't know what they are because the agreement is secret. We don't know what those standards are. What we do know is what's been leaked by WikiLeaks, and what we know is that SOPA comes back in this agreement. We know that your medicines could, your medical prices could go up. We know that it's not so much a trade agreement, but as Mike Conzel wrote, a regulatory framework to benefit incumbent players and industries. So while President Obama is going out and promoting an agreement using generalities that no one could possibly object to, that have really nothing, very, very little to do with what the actual agreement is. We know that what we've seen, it's a regulatory framework that favors massive corporations who have an incumbent and dominant role in industries. We know that. We don't know what these supposed great standards are. And number three, we also know who supports it and who opposes it. We know that people and organizations that actually work to improve the environment, that work to create greater wealth and access for workers, that work to generate entrepreneurial opportunities and create new businesses and disrupt categories in ways that are actually socially beneficial, oppose this agreement. And we know that Big Pharma supports it. We know that every lobbyist in town supports it. We know that the Republicans support it. We know that the chamber supports it. So, given the lack of transparency, given that what we do know is terrible, and also I'll judge it by its enemies and its friends, the TPP is horrible, and President Obama, do not buy what he's selling at Nike headquarters.